All right, time for a bonus episode. I just peaked my mic, I think. Oh, well, that's fine. Sorry to start that way. Hey, I'm Ben. I'm Wiz, joined with Chad. It's Boomstick.
Hi.
Chad, what's up? We got
What an intro.
we got a bonus episode. It's a lot of fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
So with some warframes and some cyber ninjas. It's going to be good.
Perfect.
And of course, we got the storyboarder for this episode along with Al. It is John.
Hello.
Hey, John. And the director of this episode, Noel.
Hello, thank you for having me. Appreciate that, and I messed up the recording earlier, but it's all
Well,
good.
you know what? It's
No one
all
would have known,
good.
but you
No,
just
no,
had to
no,
say it.
it's another timeline. They don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't have known anything, Noel, if you hadn't said anything. Look at this. What's going on with it? So, Noel, so we wanted to do something different with this episode, right? Because, sponsored episode, bonus episode, similar to the Boys episode from like 2 years ago. We wanted to make sure that it felt different, that it looked different. And just the general style and look of this is, I love it. What was going through your head when we were going through this in the script and also just that animation?
Yeah, awesome. Well, one, I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, the idea after reading like the script from Liam Swan, who's a fantastic writer, was you wanted to give it that like after hours, you're working late type of vibe. So I tossed in the idea of like, let's keep the lights dim. You got the monitor buzz. Boomstick's got the little sleeping hat that I've never ever seen anyone wear in real life.
I'm going to get one.
What do you call it when you Amazon that? Sleeping hat?
Sleep cap.
Yeah, sleeping cap.
Yeah.
Literally.
Sleeping cap. There you
Yeah.
go.
And I in my cap, right? From the night before.
Yes.
Yeah.
But are those real, though?
Surely.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen I've never seen somebody wear one.
Like, when was that a thing? Like, it was just like you had to have that as well as the gown that looked like a muumuu? Is that what those are called?
Yes, exactly. You can't sleep in Victorian times without your sleeping cat and your muumuu.
Ugh.
Yeah. Anyway, Warframe. It's I had never played it before this, even though it's been out for like a decade.
How dare you.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, John, you've been playing it for a while,
I've been
right?
playing it for almost all my life since it first really came out during the PS4 launch era of.
So pretty good to have you on this episode then, and making sure we get the right look and down and the feel of it, especially like very early on. I was like, hey, Noel, hey guys, like Warframes move like crazy. We got to make sure we capture that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So walk me through the storyboard process for this.
The storyboard process was just trying to get the general feel of both characters down right. When it comes to Excaliburs and Warframes in general, especially during the beginning times, they're bulky but yet very nimble creatures in a way, and it only evolved as each updates came in. So for Excalibur, make sure that that he's just moving right, the bullet dodge, that sort of stuff. And when it comes to Raiden, make him fast, make him furious, and make him crazy. That sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Also, I have found where I can purchase a nightcap.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
The internet.
But does it come in Warframe colors?
No.
I don't exactly know
Well,
what Warframe
it's
colors would be.
Okay,
Sure,
my
there's like
question
a
is,
million
what's with
Warframes,
the
so
poofy thing
sure.
at the end? Why does all of like even the like hats you wear when it's cold outside, they have the little poofy thing at the end? What's up with that?
It's to weigh it down so it doesn't get in your face. I'm literally just making that up.
Yeah.
But that sounds
This is
right.
the important
Yeah.
part of the commentary. This is why people are tuning in.
Well, look, when Excalibur goes to bed, he's going to have his nightcap.
Right.
Right? They messed up in the opening of the game when, he's asleep with, like, the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was supposed to have his nightcap. Well, come on.
See, then
These
that gets
extremes.
complicated with the other nightcap.
All right. Is it KNI? Like.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we should talk about the format of this episode, because it is a little different. Like, we're about to talk about Raiden, and the doors don't come in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something I thought was cool that like Ben, you and Liam were talking about is to try to give this that very informal. You're just talking with your friend, So like in the episode, it's like Boomstick asking you a question about the Warframe. You start talking about it, but then Boomstick's like, "That reminds me of of a cyborg ninja that I like. So it's really just two friends chit chatting, trying not to talk about Boomstick's nightcap.
Yeah. Yeah, we really wanted to get that like natural sort of like just art. Like, how do Wiz and Boomstick come up with death battles? Could almost be how this episode is seen. They just shooting the shit, talking about something, and like, hey, that sounds like this character. Wouldn't it be cool if they just beat each other up? Which I guess is their process.
Yeah, like oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, John.
Yeah, like any real conversation about two characters, especially for Death Battle. It's like, oh, man, I like this guy. I like this guy too. What if they try to kill each other? I just love how it just escalates so that it's a good progression.
That's so different from how it actually comes together, right? Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Characters are cool. What if they beat each other up?
I have a question for the room here. Obviously, we have, Excalibur being more biomechanical, but then we have Raiden being more of a cyborg. Which one would you pick if you could choose, like, for yourself?
To, like, be...
In what scenario?
Raiden, because he still has, like, conscious thought?
Yeah. Well,
Same.
quote unquote, the only real Warframe that I know off the top of my head that has conscious thought is Excalibur Umbra, shockingly enough, another Excalibur. So, anything like him, maybe, but no, Raiden, to be safe.
When we were initially going through this, we did talk about using a variety of possible Warframes. We were also talking with the Warframe people, like, hey, which Warframes would make sense for this? They had some ideas, we had some ideas, and eventually we were like, yeah, Excalibur makes the most sense, and we brought Excalibur versus Raiden to them. But we were kind of tossing around ideas with the other Excaliburs, because there are like four different Excaliburs just by themselves. Not skins, because there's a bunch of skins for Excalibur, but like individual types of Excaliburs, and one of them has like a whole like plot. There's a version of Excalibur that has like a major story mode in the game.
Yes.
And so we were like, well, at first I was thinking like that one would make the most sense, right? Because we could talk about that one's story. But Excalibur, the base Excalibur, is one of the first ones you're able to play as in the game. So that one made the most sense to me for not only just like introducing people to Warframe, because plenty of people who watch Death Battle have no idea what Warframe is, which hopefully this changes that. And two, he also seemed like a better match for Raiden anyway, as opposed to some of the other Excaliburs and their like wacky stories. Say wacky. Wacky's maybe not the right word for it, but like it gets like aliens get involved in like their creation and ghost people piloting it. It's like, okay, maybe this is a bit beyond even Metal Gear like standards, and Metal Gear has some crazy standards.
Sure does.
So we went through a couple different options, but we ultimately went with Excalibur, base Excalibur. Who does not wear a kick-ass sombrero, which is also why I would pick Raiden.
Yeah, look at how happy that guy was. The guy was blown away by that sombrero.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool hat. Anyway, yeah. I mean, does everybody here agree? Raiden's the one to go with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
Also,
I'll say
the high
this.
frequency blade is so freaking cool.
Way back with like Metal Gear Solid, I was always more of a Snake fan, so I always kept that against Raiden. Because in my head, you see him and he's in his birthday suit, and I was like, not about that.
Yeah,
but as I get older, I understand.
His birthday suit is what makes him. His birthday suit was actually pretty awesome.
It was very awesome. So progressive, and I was like, okay, I'm actually for this.
Were you a player who bought MGS2 without realizing that Raiden was the main character?
Yes.
That's probably part of it, right? Like,
You're like, I was
not in
betrayed.
that group. But yeah, exactly. I imagine, buying it, especially since Snake is in like the first mission or early on. It's like, surprise, you're not playing as that character that you played in the last game. I can see people feel a little peeved at that.
Betrayed, yes, betrayed.
Oh my god.
And having a bad impression of Raiden. Maybe not the best way to introduce him, but also maybe it is.
Also,
'cause
like
he's still around.
I also had a weird thing growing up where I would pronounce Raiden And so anytime someone would say it was Raiden, I don't know why, I would just get so frustrated at that. But I don't. Those are just
Mortal
my little
Kombat
quirks.
ruined it.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat ruined the name. Also, this segment is great. I love how this turned out.
Yeah.
Just the argument.
The back and
You
forth.
y'all going back
Yeah.
and forth about it. Yeah.
The Mountain King music going up in the back. Like, I love that.
The math
It turned
boy.
out so good.
That was very fun.
This is like the most difficult part of the script. Because honestly, like, figuring out which pieces belonged here and which ones belonged in the, like, rundowns earlier. We went back and forth on a lot of different ideas for, like, how much should be here. Originally, it was much longer. Then it became much shorter. But ultimately, I think it turned out really good, and I love the math off.
Yeah.
I don't know why Liam was like, yeah, Wiz is going to call himself the math boy or whatever. Like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever. Also, this is canon. Death battles start with a big red button, I guess.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah.
As all most decisions are made with the
Yeah.
big red button.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, like, you need that big red button, right? And, you know, as this ad is playing, like, probably good. I've said it, like, as a bunch, so I'm sure people are getting sick of it. But Warframe people sponsoring this episode, we made sure that we were the ones who decided on who won, and the reasons why, and also just the general matchup overall. So it's great to have a sponsor who understands that aspect of Death Battle, and doesn't come in like they were even sort of fighting for Raiden for a while there. Like, hey, but what if couldn't Raiden do this? Which is kind of awesome. It's really cool to be able to work with a company like this and just have them get it right and be like, yeah, it's totally fine if our character dies. It's totally fine if our character kills this character. Go for it. So. We don't get to do that very often.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat.
And we have our own Warframe Death Battle code.
Oh my gosh. It's what I've always wanted.
Look, you get
Even
cool
though I've never
stuff.
played Warframe until we started on this episode. Which
What
is a
every
shame,
growing
as John
tenno
mentioned.
needs.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Guys, the story, we didn't really talk about the Tenno. Like,
No.
learning about the backstory of Warframe was like fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right, John? Like,
Oh.
it's
Yeah, dude. You know about Ballas? You know about Ballas and how he? My favorite chain of things is that Ballas made the Warframes to come back to sentience that were made by Ballas's race, the Orkin, that made the sentience to combat another thing that they made called the Infestation. So it's just a cavalcade.
It's just another reason why Metal Gear is so perfect to pair up against this.
Yeah.
It's just like, you want confusing plots?
All self-made problems.
Yeah. Here we go. There's just so much to it. But holy shit. Okay, so we got Devil Artemis on
Yes.
this.
Yes.
the
Big
whole
fan
fight.
of Devil's Work.
Yes, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. What was it like working with him, Noel?
Super cool. Like, the best part, working with incredibly talented artists is, for the most part, you rarely have to say much, and in return, they just kind of make you look good. And so when it comes to Devil, it was really just like, hey, dude, yeah, man, here's John and Al's awesome storyboards. Have fun. And then he would just, show it back, and I'd be like, this is much better than what I saw in my mind's eye. And so, working with Devil was really fun. And again, yeah, like, looking at these camera angles, it pains me because I am a live action camera dude and I can't think of these angles. And I'm like, damn it. These animators are so good.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that, like, looking through, especially the building scene, going up the building, like, Devil is really good with the camera and keeping that energy up throughout the anim. Like, and this whole thing is Devil, basically, right? Like, he worked on this from start to finish.
Yes.
We were originally, like, talking to other animators, like, well, we can bring in more people, but it ended up just being him, full stop, which is incredible. Like, he was gung-ho to, like, get this shit done, and he got it done, like, in record time, too.
Really
which is wild.
fast.
Like, this is amazing stuff.
It would be
looks so
crazy
awesome.
how, like, going to Devil, in my head, I don't know why I ever had any type of doubt, but it would be, like, hey, man, before you get to this part here, and then he'd already have it. And I'm like, oh, awesome. I have no notes here. Great job.
Figuring out how to incorporate the different weapons, especially with both of them. Both of them have like so many weapons that could appear in the death battle.
Yeah.
Like there were some specific guns we talked about bringing in for Excalibur. Of course, Raiden has a bunch of different weapons that have like weird effects, like the l'étranger. We talked about using that as like both the staff and the whip, and like doing some weird stuff with that. We ultimately had to turn it down a bit so that we could like focus on the main stuff more, because like they got some really cool main weapons, like the Exalted Blade. Like that had to be like a big focus, right?
Oh, yeah.
And of course, the high frequency blade versus the Galaxian. There's so many little things, interesting comparisons of weapons and abilities with it that, like, I remember going through a version of the script with Liam where it just felt like there's just so much going on. I don't know if we actually have time to, like, process it. So that was definitely probably the most challenging aspect of the script, is just figuring out how we could make or add as much of these weapons and abilities as we could without it feeling, like, overstuffed. I think it worked out okay.
No, I think it worked out great.
Well, it worked out great.
No, it went amazing. I think this is a fantastic representation of both series. Just really good.
As somebody who has been playing this game for much longer than us, like, how do you feel about it overall? What was it like thinking about, like, or hearing, like, hey John, we're gonna do a Warframe episode.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. When I was in Death Battle, when I was working here, I'm like, we're never gonna get a Warframe fight, because one, it's like, so many, and it's like, who do we fight? And then when I saw, I'm like, yes! Yes! So I'm really happy. When it comes to like the fight, the analysis, I appreciate the amount of background you put in, and I think you did a good job on that, and keeping out all the weird timeline shenanigan BS that we're going through right now in the story. There's I'm just proud. I'm not speaking for every Warframing ear here or whatever.
No, look, Warframing as they're called.
Warframing is that a thing?
It is now.
No, I'm making it a thing.
Warmanites.
Warframers.
Warmanites.
Oh no. I just think y'all did a great job. This is a fun fight. Happy to see Raiden come back too. I haven't seen him since Wolverine.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if for those listening and tuning in, if you haven't seen that fight, Raiden versus Wolverine, you can check that out.
Yeah. Shameless plug is shameless.
Classic Torian animation with some crazy action, like Wolverine climbing up the building is still one of my favorite shots.
Oh yeah.
Ever done. Well, all right. Thank you all for watching this commentary and for checking out the episode. This is a very interesting episode for us from the back end, like figuring out how to do it with a slightly different style, but also like make sure that it feels like both an episode of Death Battle, but also something unique. And so it's always a fun time, figuring out how to make some unique style episodes. And man, shout out to everybody who worked on this: voice actors, animators, editors, writers, etc. And of course, you guys here, Chad, Noel, John. Fantastic job. Really proud of you guys. This came out so good. And Noel, it's been a little while since you've worked on a Death Battle like this, so
yeah,
thank
you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Desk of Death Battle's coming next.
It's Jocelyn. She's coming back for her own show. Desk of Death Battle. I don't know what this voice is.
What are you doing? Get out of here.
Everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.